Hi there! Welcome to my channel. I'm Louise. I'm an artist, writer, video creator, singer, musician, occasional actor, and a bunch of other stuff as well. I am a multi-passionate creative, and in this video I want to talk about the various ways that has made my life difficult and the things I have learned after desperately trying to make a living on my art for like 15 years, but constantly changing my mind and feeling confused about which one of my passions to pursue, leaving lots of projects half finished and just simply hating myself. I'm sure a lot of you can relate to this. Being a multi-passionate creative might sound really nice and it can be fun in a lot of ways, but if you, like me, are actually trying to make a living as a creative, then you know it's not as fun as it sounds. It can almost feel like a curse sometimes. I always envied my childhood friends who pursued the same thing since middle school. No detours, no distractions, no identity crises. I've always thought, how nice that must be to have that kind of focus and determination and to make steady progress at something. Meanwhile, I've always been torn in all directions, going from one phase to the next. I never found my one thing. I found a lot of things that I enjoyed and just got really confused instead. It got to a point somewhere in my mid-20s where I almost dreaded that feeling of excitement that I would always get when I discovered something new or fell back in love with one of my passions, because I knew it wouldn't last. I would just make a bunch of lofty goals and promises, but inevitably end up disappointing myself and possibly others as well. And even though I have learned a lot of skills in my life, I have gotten quite good at some of them, and I have done a lot of things that I am proud of, I still feel hopelessly behind sometimes, and like I could have accomplished so much more for my age had I not been multi-passionate. Because the fact is, the more you divide your time on multiple pursuits, the slower your progress will be. You will still make progress, of course, but not as much as your more focused counterparts. If we're trying to gather momentum in a skill or venture, like a creative business, for example, that demands focused attention for an extended amount of time to start seeing any results at all. And those results would just not be the same if we ran that business as a sporadic side hustle compared to if we did it full time. So there are real disadvantages to having many passions, especially if we want to make a living on one or more of them. I've had to shape my career around this fact. I've tried to change myself to better fit into traditional jobs or careers. It has not worked. It has either bored me to tears or burnt me out or just put me at such a disadvantage that I haven't been able to do my job. The only thing that has worked for me is doing my own thing, running my own business, or let's face it, businesses. I've run several different businesses over the years, and they have all taught me what I enjoy doing and what I don't enjoy doing and how to get the most out of myself, despite my weaknesses and disadvantages. Ever since my mid-20s, I've been in a constant process of designing my own dream job, and it hasn't been easy. It takes time to figure yourself out and to start gaining momentum. And I still have days where I just feel like a loser moving at snail pace. But of course, all of these years spent dabbling have started to add up for me. Many creative skills actually amplify when combined. That is the strength of the multi-passionate person, being versatile, adaptable, and able to combine several skills into new skills. And I believe that figuring out these combined super skills is the best way to take advantage of your multiple passions. This YouTube channel is a good example. What is it that I do here? Well, art making, for starters, since that's the focus of the channel. Art making and thoughts and tips on creativity and creative business building, which I have lots of experience of, so centering my channel around these topics makes sure that I never run out of content ideas and I'm always in the mood to paint and draw. Then there's the writing aspect. I script most of my videos, the one you're watching included. Having worked many years as a freelance journalist and copywriter, it helps me write good video scripts and also good titles and descriptions for my videos. Then we have the filming process and the skills needed for that. Talking in front of a camera, or in this case, in a voiceover, and doing it in a relaxed and natural way. Telling a story, knowing about good lighting and framing of shots and those kinds of things. I've been on many film sets as an actor, and so I'm used to being in front of a camera, and I've picked up a thing or two about filmmaking along the way. Plus, I sing to warm up my voice for voiceovers, and I get to pick out great background music for my videos. All of these skills, art, writing, storytelling, music, acting, filmmaking, are things that I've practiced separately for many years and felt like I could never make real progress in. And now I get to combine them all into one profession, which gives me that variety that I crave, and it brings more of my passions into my work. So my advice to you, if you're sitting there right now confused about which one of your passions to pursue and how to stop this quitting and starting from scratch cycle, is this. Make a list of everything you really love doing, all of your passions that you constantly keep shifting back and forth between. And ask yourself, how could these passions be combined? Maybe not all of them, but at least 2 or 3. In what type of job or career or business could you get to practice several of these skills in combination? Or try combining one or more skills you have with a topic that you can't get enough of. What could that look like? And can you see yourself staying satisfied and stimulated doing that for at least a few years? You don't need to make it a commitment for life. That's one mistake that I've made, thinking that I need to choose one thing and stick to that, make it my identity. No, it's totally fine to have several careers or business ventures and to go through many phases. You and your life circumstances will keep changing, so why shouldn't your work? Now, I try to approach my career in terms of projects or sprints instead. What makes sense for me to focus on for the coming year or so, as a kind of experiment, no strings attached. And then, once that year is over, I can reevaluate. Maybe I keep going, or maybe I pause that thing for a while and take a break and do something else. And ideally, that thing that I've built will continue to grow in the background. The biggest mistake that I've made throughout my career is not juggling too many things at once, or even quitting them, but shutting down or deleting or otherwise hiding my previous work. A kind of self-sabotage. Why have I done that? Well, partly because it costs money to have several websites and email lists running at the same time, and let's face it, I haven't exactly been rolling around in money as a self-employed creative, but mostly because it hasn't fit my current persona or whatever new thing that I wanted to do. I'd been told by so many experts that I needed to niche myself. I couldn't be all of these things at once. And so I've always divided myself up and only shown one version of myself at a time for fear of confusing people or not being taken seriously. And this has led to a lot of lost work and progress that I wish I could have kept and maintained. Leave everything you create visible and accessible and possibly automated as well, because you never know when you might want to recommit to that thing. Most importantly, stop beating yourself up for being multi-passionate. Stop hating yourself. Stop comparing yourself to prodigies who have done one thing only since they were like 12. Understand that this trait is both a blessing and a curse, and there are ways of mitigating some of the negative aspects and maybe even turning your perceived weakness into an advantage. All of your skills and interests and personal experiences that you have accumulated throughout your life are valuable assets, even if you don't think they're very special or remarkable, and even if you're not an expert at any of it. Sometimes it's the combination of skills and experiences that's the most valuable, and I guarantee you that you have at least some of those combinations or super skills. You can find synergies and overlaps, and you don't have to abandon anything you love. Let's also remember that you don't have to make a career out of everything. You might not want to or need to make a living on your creativity, which kind of neutralizes the curse. Having too many options is only a problem if we think we have to choose. And we only really have to choose if we want to build a career or a business out of something. Otherwise, we're just free to dabble all we want and enjoy it. A lot of your passions might in fact be much better suited to being hobbies, relaxing or exciting creative practices with no pressure to sustain you economically. Getting to do what we love and to practice our art in any way or capacity is a gift. Let's celebrate that instead of feeling guilt or self-hatred for our many unfinished projects or for not having gotten as far as we think we should in life. That's not what life is about anyways. We're not here to hustle or become famous or win some game. We have absolutely zero obligation to make something of ourselves, whatever that means. Success can look a lot of different ways. For me, right now, it just means let me paint and draw and make my videos and let me be myself and do my thing and let me make just enough money to get by. I don't need to be an expert or a prolific genius. I don't need to win awards. I don't need 1 million followers. For a creative, getting to create is the real reward. And as multi-passionate, multi-talented creatives, we have more ways to do that than anyone else. We are lucky. And when I think about it, I would rather have all this variety than being really, really good at just one thing. Do you agree? Are you a confused and frustrated multi-passionate as well? Let me know in the comments. For more musings on the creative life, subscribe to my weekly newsletter. I send them out every Friday and I tell you about what I'm working on and what I'm thinking about, what I'm reading and watching and listening to, and some links and resources that I found that might be of use to you as well. It's free and you can sign up via the link in the description. As always, thank you so much for watching or listening, and I'll see you in the next one.